pod bay doors, please, Hal.
The pod bay doors are slightly open. Welcome to yet another mini episode. I am Jerry Dean Roberts of ArmchairCinema.com, sitting here with my illustrious co-host, the critic and legend from TopMovieMe.com, Mr. Doug Heller. How the heck are you today, sir?
I'm doing all right. What are we talking about today? What do we got?
We're talking about something that's been on my mind. Not unusual news. This confusion that I've got lately over the whole merger between Disney and Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Disney's acquisition of Fox. This is the thing I wanted to talk about this week. Because I was really confused about exactly what that entailed. Particularly, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a video that dropped of The Simpsons welcoming their new overlords. And I thought it's funny, but it's kind of confusing because I thought that, and I know they're doing it for laughs, but I don't think Disney owns that part of Fox.
The way that I understood the deal is that News Corp would retain.
News Corp is
the previous owners of Fox, the Rupert Murdoch's company.
Okay, yeah. I just want to make that clear.
News Corp still owns Fixed News, Fox Sports,
and Fox TV.
The fiction creative side, I think, ended up going to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And that would include at least the television production and the programming. I don't know if they also acquired Fox's shares of Hulu.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now they own something like 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
Because they owned it with ABC, and now they own Fox's share, and now the only other one there is NBC. And Disney's starting this Disney Plus, so I don't know exactly what they're going to do unless they're going to keep all of their ABC and Fox stuff on Hulu, because that's a big moneymaker for them too.
They don't, and this is to be clear, they don't own Hulu. That was something I saw in the news from a professional journalist who noted that they own Hulu now. They don't own Hulu. They have a controlling stake in Hulu.
Right, they have 2/3 stake.
Right.
Because they started it because they've owned ABC since the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And that was a joint venture between Fox, NBC, and ABC. Mm-hmm. And now it's NBC and Disney.
Right. Well, what I've found out is what they do own, what they absolutely do own, is the entire Fox movie library.
Right, and all the rights in perpetuity. So they own X-Men and Fantastic Four, and Alien, and A New Hope.
Yeah. But and this is where the confusion was. What do they actually own? What I found out, and I thought this was really interesting. The reason that they're doing all of this, I found out, is that according to Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Disney, the reason that they're doing all of this, he said, and I quote, "We're settling in for a long winter." There's going to be the reason that they had the Fox acquisition is because they're stocking up for Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be all that content, as if Disney doesn't already have,
everything.
As if Disney doesn't already have nearly 100 years of content.
Yeah.
I mean, how many movies has Disney made?
Plus the television shows that they already had. Plus they already had
Past
Marvel.
and present.
Yeah, past and present, and they had Marvel and Lucasfilm.
Right. I don't know exactly why they need this, but uh, it's kind of interesting. What I see out of this, and what I thought was interesting. I was talking to my wife about this last night. What I think is going to start to happen is you're going to start to see with streaming services what you saw with basic cable a few years ago,
Packages.
which is they're going to be packages. They're going to be streaming service for uh, every single you know demographic.
Hmm.
You're going to have a streaming service for uh, this group. You're going to have a streaming service for that group. You're going to have a streaming service for like BET and Telemundo, and then you're going to have a streaming service for like a Christian audience and things like that. It's like you're going to have one for. So Disney's kind of stocking up for that, and that's apparently the reason they're doing this. I think we're going to get streaming serviced out.
Well, I definitely, everybody predicted the demise of kind of cable and also theatrical releases once, well, VHS and then DVD and and then the internet and then Netflix and Hulu and Amazon. Uh, Probably cable will start to go the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's probably on its last legs because you can get all of the premium channels that people were holding on for.
Or as I like to call it, 5,000 channels of 3 channels that I actually watch.
Yeah, see, we um what was it, the Bruce Springsteen song 57 channels and nothing on?
Right, right.
Um I think that
5,000 channels of nothing to watch is what I call
right.
it.
And I think that they things are going to move to internet only stuff like the nature of cable and things once um, the older generations that were brought up on rabbit ears and cable phases out, like the
Yeah.
boomers, once they start to go, and the people who are used to the streaming, your generation, my generation, and the ones after us, aren't going to don't want cable.
Yeah.
And the only reason that it's still surviving is because there is a large number of people who that's all they know, and they don't want to learn something new, so they just get the cable. Once they die out, it's going to be difficult.
One thing that uh, I do like about my streaming services, I have Amazon Prime and I have Netflix. And one thing I love about both of them is the fact that if I want to watch something, um, I don't know about you, but I'm done with appointment television. Um,
Yeah, the
I
we
don't do appointment. I'm too busy for appointment
we
television anymore.
we only there's really only one show that we watch live, and that's usually The Flash. 'Cause
Yeah.
my wife wants to watch it right Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Everything else we watch, we might catch it on the night that it's on
Hmm.
if we remember, and that's usually just Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Good Place.
Yeah.
Anything else that we watch, we have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, the Criterion Channel. Uh, so we have a whole big everything, and we're probably going to get Disney as well.
Oh,
Disney
I'm absolutely
Plus.
going to get Disney.
Yeah. Um, what with the Mandalorian and
Oh,
Clone
heck
Wars
yeah.
season 7 and like all the Star Wars stuff that's going to be there is going to be totally, and Cassian Andor
Hmm.
show. And the funny thing is places like Amazon and the Roku channel on your Roku that has free stuff
Hmm.
um, a lot of these places that are like a big conglomerate of stuff offer things like CBS All Access and
Yeah.
will offer Disney Plus, so you can add them on to your HBO subscription on Amazon Prime, have everything through your Amazon
Mhm.
except what you can't get there, and that's on Netflix and Hulu.
Are you somewhat
That's
surprised these networks are still around? I'm actually surprised the four
yes,
networks still
in
exist.
in a way, yes, because broadcast television is gone.
Yeah.
Uh,
Basic cable's dying too.
yeah, well, I mean, by broadcast, I mean like the they no longer have the VHF waves.
Mm-hmm.
That got turned back over to the military.
Right.
Now it's a digital signal. Now technically broadcast is gone.
What was that?
So
I think it was like was it? I think it was June of 2004, maybe something like that, when everything went digital.
it was supposed to be 2004. It ended up being somewhere around 2006 or 7.
Because I
Um,
remember that.
yeah, me too. I was working at Sears in the electronics department selling televisions when that was happening.
Like, thanks, you just killed half my clientele.
Actually, no, it was boon for business because people were buying digital televisions.
I remember here they were doing commercials when that happened, and they were warning people that it was one of our local stations. It was the Fox affiliate was warning people that on this certain date when everything goes digital, you may lose this channel.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, is there anybody out there actually watching? Is there anybody out there watching television just in the ether? Just in you can't do that anymore.
They're very, very few. You can. They do have digital antennas,
Yeah.
which we have used. They don't necessarily get every channel.
Mhm.
Some are just either too far away or it's too hard to pick up in certain areas. Um, but they do have digital antennas that will get you everything on basic cable, basically.
I'd rather just
Uh,
have cable or something.
see, we
Well,
do what is it? Direct TV now, so we don't have the satellite. It's basically like an internet streaming uh, television
mhm.
signal. So I can get TCM and MSNBC, and we
I think
get CW. We
TCM is
get
gonna get their own streaming service too. Um,
well, TCM's is gonna be because TCM is owned by now Warner Media,
mhm.
uh, the culprits who shut down Filmstruck
Yeah.
in an attempt to consolidate, which is why there is a Criterion channel,
Mhm.
which is almost or maybe even better than Filmstruck
Those two
was.
words are just magic to me.
Yeah, it's
Criterion Channel.
it's really wonderful. I highly recommend it. Because it's not just Criterion editions.
Mhm.
It's like stuff in back catalogs that they don't have in the Criterion collection.
Mhm.
It's basically Filmstruck with just under the banner of Criterion.
Well, the thing that I was really when I kind of came up with this topic uh, for the mini episode is that the thing that really is concerning me, and I understand completely why Disney's doing it. I don't agree, but because I think, like I said earlier, I think they have enough material that they probably could have come up with a streaming service without having to do this.
Hmm.
I know they want to draw the adult audience, but come on. I mean, you've got all that stuff in Touchstone. Um,
Well, yeah, but I think the whole Fox thing to me was they wanted X-Men and A New Hope. They wanted the
yeah.
rights to the stuff that they'd already bought.
Mm.
They wanted that stuff outright. And now the only outstanding property that's under a banner that they control is Spider-Man through Sony, and there's that weirdo deal that they have
Yeah.
with them. So,
Well, the thing that bothers me, Disney's losing its originality. um, because everything they create now is either a remake of something they've already done or
Part of an
made on
ongoing
the
series.
is made on the back of something that already existed, like
Right.
Marvel and Star Wars, which
Mhm.
are fine. I love the Star Wars movies. I love the Marvel movies. All of their animated features that they've been making lately have been sequels.
Mhm.
Um, the live action movies that they've been making lately, one of them opened today, which is Aladdin just opened today. They're
Mhm.
making remakes of all the stuff that what I'm really missing and what really bothers me, particularly about the fact that they just bought Fox, is the fact that where is the originality? Where's their original stuff?
I think right now Disney, the studio, is oddly just fixated on just repeating success
Yeah,
instead of creating success. I'm sure that this live action remake of animated features, I'm sure that's going to peter out.
we've
Um,
got one more that I know of, and that's Lion King.
well, and Maleficent
And
too.
Maleficent.
Um, and uh, um, I want to say there's at least
Little
another
Mermaid.
one after. They tried to do The Little Mermaid.
Did that fall off?
I think that fell through. It might still be kind of happening. I think Sofia Coppola was attached to it for a little while. Um, I want to say that they're not quite done after The Lion King, but they really probably should be.
I kind of want to see Sophia Coppola's Little Mermaid.
Me too.
I want it to be kind of like Somewhere, where it's just the day to day, and it's
Yeah,
there's no flash, no nothing, no
right.
music, no nothing. It's just a day in her life, and there's nothing interesting about it. It's just
Which would be the interesting thing about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
It's
mean,
like it would be
or
like
we look
if
like Marie Antoinette.
or yeah,
It's-
which I actually really like.
I did too.
Um, or something like if she weren't past Chantel Ackerman's
Mm,
Little Mermaid,
yeah,
just sitting around, not even really talking, just doing her hair with the fork, or like
no, Snarflat.
yeah, with and it's 3.5 or 4 hours long, like
Mm.
Jean Dillon.
Yeah. But I worry because it does again it does worry me because it looks to me like Disney's losing its soul. The only hope, the only real hope, spark of hope, is the decision recently that Pixar has made.
They're
Pixar
not doing
is
any more sequels, right?
about to release Toy Story 4,
Mm-hmm.
and once that's done, they said for the foreseeable future, and we don't know how long that's going to be, but the foreseeable future, they're not doing any sequels, which tells me that's the only spark of original content that's going to come from Disney. And as
Right.
much as I love Disney, I do. I'm addicted to Disney. I love Disney. It's just my mind is boggling. I didn't want to see Dumbo. I didn't want to see Beauty and the Beast. I don't want to see Aladdin. I've already seen those.
Right. Done very well. Sometimes perfectly.
Right. I mean, the only real remake that they did well was Jungle Book
Pete's
and
Dragon.
Pete's Dragon, and technically Moana, because Moana was a remake of Pocahontas.
Yes, but
Technically,
technically, I suppose.
but I mean, I can't. It just it's bothering me, and
You're
uh,
not the only one that it's bothering. Oh, it's industry wide. It's like nothing can stop Disney if they want to procure your stuff,
mm,
they can do it.
yeah,
They will be able to put up the money. that they are making offers that no one can refuse.
Now, don't get me wrong. Uh, I love what they've done with Marvel. I love what they've done with Star Wars because they have put together a product that does not feel like you're sitting through. They put together a product that doesn't feel like, oh, here's a box full of stuff we know you want to see.
Hmm.
Here's a box full of fan service. You remember this, right? They don't do that with Marvel. They actually bother to tell a story. They don't do that
Right.
with Star Wars. They actually bother to tell a story, and they make them entertaining.
Hmm.
And I want to see their original content doing that. I know it's a risk, but you know, I don't know. I
Yeah.
appreciate the fact, and I'm still not fully understanding why they felt that they needed Fox, other than those Marvel properties. But um,
The Marvel properties and full rights to A New Hope, and I guess I think in a lot of ways because Touchstone doesn't really put much out anymore,
no,
and Miramax folded.
mm,
I think they
well,
wanted.
we
There
all
were a
know what
lot
happened
of
there.
there were a lot of things that happened because of to Miramax, um, but they tried to hold on to Miramax after the Weinstein's made the Weinstein Company,
Yeah,
and it ended up just being like a back library thing that they ended up just closing up.
yeah,
But I think they wanted a division that they could make money off of more adult leaning pictures
well, yeah, because
without
Disney's struggling.
having
You know,
right without having the Disney. Yeah, Disney's struggling.
yeah, Disney, the poor Disney, they're struggling. I mean,
I think they just want a new avenue. The trouble is that after a point, it's just going to be Disney, and they're
yeah.
going to have to do like some antitrust suit on them, break them up, and then they're just going to be in the same position that they were before.
Well, they didn't own Fox Television because you can't own two broadcast networks at the same time, and they already own
Hmm.
ABC.
Right.
And I think that's because of the I guess they're anti-monopoly thing.
There's a whole thing, um, which it's kind of funny that they still allowed Rupert Murdoch to have the news station
Yeah.
and Fox Television
Mm.
and Fox Sports Net and like I mean they were under the same banner, I guess, but they're still it's not another broadcast channel, I
Yeah.
guess. Um,
$17.3 billion
mhm.
this merger was with Fox. Billions.
Yes.
What do you say again?
That is
Billions
billion with a B.
with a B.
Yes.
Yes. And again, I don't know. I'll just end up repeating myself, but I'm worried about Disney. Not monetarily, but creatively, I am worried about Disney. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know.
Well, and then
Maybe I'll understand it when I see Disney Plus. I don't know.
maybe the problem that I have is that where are they going to draw the line on the Disney sensibility?
Yeah,
Because there's a few rated R productions that are in the pipeline at Fox,
really, because
and they're
apparently everything's rated PG-13 lately.
well, there were there's stuff in the pipeline that they were making that was going to be rated R, and then they were like worried that that was going to be changed. They've already stuck their nose into Steven Spielberg's West Side Story because people were smoking. I don't know if you knew that, but
No, I didn't know that.
there was a big kerfluffle about smoking in Spielberg's West Side Story, and that might end up being reshot to cut that out. And if they're willing to do that, what are they going to do to something like the prestige pictures that come out through Fox Searchlight? Like The Favorite. Can you imagine The Favorite at PG-13?
Roma.
Or you might as well just burn them
Yeah.
because they're. So that's a big question that I have. Um, Specifically Fox Searchlight, because they tend to put out some crackerjack pictures at the end of the
Yeah.
year. Fox Searchlight is a big bright spot in the end of the year
Mm.
Oscar push and the awards push for me. I love. I tend to really gravitate to the Searchlight stuff. So,
Well,
and all
everything's
of that
get.
is adult fare.
The
You
other thing
know.
is everything's getting now. They're trying to mesh all of these audiences together, so they don't have to, so they don't have to find an audience. It's like, so they water everything down because
Hmm.
they don't want to offend anybody, and they don't want to have to turn anybody away, at the box office or whatever. I love it when something gets a reputation like HBO. HBO has a reputation as this no holds barred, just like
Oh yeah.
we'll show anything.
Hmm.
I love that. I think that's the only salvation
Yeah.
in an industry where everybody's trying to water everything down to a PG so nobody gets their feelings hurt.
Right. Exactly. And then you have, like you said, HBO putting out shows like Game of Thrones, which basically had the alternative title of Tits and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was The Sopranos. There was Sex in the City, which I guess had stuff. I've never actually seen an episode of that. Uh,
Westworld,
Westworld.
sex with robots.
Whew. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, even their comedies, Barry, Veep, Insecure,
Mm-hmm.
are all very boundary
Adult.
pushing. Um,
I don't mind that. I don't
I love
mind.
it.
I love it.
I just wish Disney would understand that people now get that they own multiple properties
Mm-hmm.
and that the Disney name won't be sullied by Fox putting out an R-rated movie.
I just don't want to flip on Disney Plus and I see the content there, and all I see is everybody else's stuff.
Right. I also don't want to see I don't want to go I have the Blu-ray box set, but if I went to Disney Plus and was like, "You know what? I feel like watching Alien."
Mm-hmm.
And I go and it says Alien, directed by Ridley Scott, rated PG-13.
Yeah.
I don't want to see I doubt that they would go back and recut R-rated movies for Disney Plus, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Cuz Walmart would cut pictures. They still have
Yeah.
some companies will still release a Walmart version that is slightly less
Okay. The term Walmart version. The term Walmart version. I'm reminded of that Family Guy episode where it was Carl Sagan's Cosmos edited for rednecks. Scientists say the Earth was created by God. That's what that sounded like when you said that.
Kind of. It's almost exactly what it is. Because I don't know how many still do that, but I know that back in the early days of DVDs and even in VHS, they would they would put out a different version through Walmart
Well, they still do
that
that.
they
There's what's called the unrated cut,
uh-huh.
which is kind of deceptive because an unrated cut, all it is the director has gone back in and put in like maybe 2 minutes, and it's not anything.
Right. It used to be if you were getting an unrated cut, the original and that would be like the original version that the MPAA would not give an R rating to.
Yeah.
So they go back in and they put in all the stuff that would have gotten them an NC-17,
Mhm.
but they don't run it through the MPAA and it goes unrated,
Right.
and then they can put anything they want into it. That's not always the case when you get an unrated.
By the way, earlier I said that the Fox bought Disney bought 20th Century Fox for 17 billion. I was wrong. It was 71 billion.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I am looking forward to the Disney streaming service. I really
Oh,
am.
well, me too. Me too. And there's all sorts of places that are making their own streaming services outside of, CBS, and there's Disney and
I'm sure
Criterion
NBC and ABC, if they don't already have one.
they sort of have like on-demand apps and stuff like that, but it's not a pay service
Give it
with
time.
exclusive content. ABC I doubt will, because that'll be Disney Plus.
Mhm. Well,
Or stuff will go to Hulu. Like they do Runaways and some things like that are Marvel titles that go through are just Hulu.
I didn't think about this. That's another thing that's probably going to show up on on the Disney streaming service is all of the ABC shows.
Hmm.
That's probably something else that's
And
going to show up there too. I didn't think
and
about that.
probably the Netflix Marvel shows.
Didn't they kill that?
They Netflix canceled them,
Okay.
but Disney still owns them, and they could bring them back for Disney Plus,
Okay. See,
which is
I
what
like those shows.
I assumed once when they said when they said Iron Fist was being canceled. I wasn't surprised because I didn't really like season one
That show
of Iron
sucked.
Fist. Yeah, I still haven't watched season two. And then
You're fine. You're
when
fine.
they got to, they're like, oh, we're canceling Nick Cage. It's like, or not Nick Cage, Luke Cage. I'm like, that was the strongest season two
Mm.
out of any of them. It was, I loved Luke Cage season two, and they're like, oh, that's canceled. And then they did Daredevil. I don't even know if they've announced whether Jessica Jones is coming back or not for season three, but
I heard a
I
great line the other day. Somebody said, "Well, how do you like your coffee?" And the guy said, "Strong and black, like Luke Cage."
I steal a line from SNL when they were spoofing Thomas Jefferson. They said, "How do you like your coffee?" And he says, "Black and first thing in the morning." Like I like my women, black and first thing in the morning.
No, but I mean, uh, I don't mind a TV show, and this is the addiction to streaming anyway. Is that, and I learned this recently. Um, we were watching the first season of Nightfall, which is a great show, and the great thing about it is we can sit through 13 episodes over a couple of nights
Hmm.
rather than sitting through 24 episodes through 9 months.
Yeah,
And you have to wait a week.
we
I'd rather burn through it.
hmm
I like binging.
I do too. And we actually we watched Black Lightning in its first season.
Hmm.
Um, we started it in the second season, and we just kind of fell behind.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I was just like, you know what? Let's just wait. It'll show up on Netflix a week after the finale airs, because that's how CW does it. Like a week later, it's all on Netflix. Be like a week after the finale airs, the whole season will be on Netflix. We could just watch it without commercials, and
Yeah.
if we just wait, we could watch it then. And so that's what we haven't gotten to it yet, but that's what we did. We stopped the DVR recordings and we just
The DVR for us is just we like my wife and I love the stuff that comes on Adult Swim, the stuff they don't make.
Hmm.
So it's Family Guy, it's American Dad, it's Bob's Burgers, it's and Rick and Morty, which is a. But that's
Which
usually
they
what our
do make.
yeah, that's our DVR.
Hmm.
Anything else we get from Netflix and Hulu, unless we just want to record it. Um, but like I say, I like the binging. I like sitting through a show and not having to wait,
Hmm.
for this. And we were binging Star Trek Discovery, first season, and we got through it in 2 days.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Season 1 is really good.
Yeah.
Season 2 is just as good. It's trippy.
Don't tell me anything about it. I haven't seen
I'm
it
not
yet.
going to say a damn word about it. You find that out by yourself. But I mean, there's that, and I'm kind of mad at CBS for making high quality exclusive programming. The Twilight Zone is amazing.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh my
Is
god.
that on Access?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little worried about Jordan Peele
Mm,
because it seems like he's got a lot of issues he needs to work through
mm.
with his films and through the Twilight
Are
Zone.
you saying that his creative work is his therapy?
It might be, but the Twilight Zone is amazing. I actually think the Twilight Zone has, in its first season, has had some episodes that equal or are superior to some of the classic episodes of the original series.
This is the fifth iteration, television iteration of the Twilight Zone. This is the fifth
And it's
since
it's it's as good as the Sterling,
yeah.
Rod Serling ones.
Uh, yeah, and that's really interesting because anthology series, by their very nature, generally do not do well on television anymore.
Right, but this is I think it's doing quite well. So
Well, to bring this to a close, I'm looking forward to Disney streaming the Disney Plus, but I'm concerned where Disney's going now. Um, Getting into the sequel business and getting into those, I feel like they're losing their footing. Financially, they're sound. I mean,
and Disney tends to Disney's funny. Disney I think likes to be on the roller coaster.
mhm.
Um, they like being on top, but they also do what they can to kick kick the chair out from under them so that they can
Yeah,
climb back up.
yeah.
I think that they just enjoy that. If you look at the 60s and 70s post Walt, it's like they intentionally were
Twenty years, 20 years.
hamstringing themselves for 20 years so that they could have a big comeback. And then they started to do it again, and then they bought Marvel and Lucasfilm, and
Yeah,
that
remember all
really
those
kind of
sequels in the '90s? Yeah.
and the direct-to-video sequels of the 2000s, once
Let me tell you
DVD.
something. Let me tell you something. And I've been, I'm writing a book about Disney. I've mentioned this several times. I'm writing a book about Disney, so I see the roller coaster through my research. A lot came off of Aladdin
Hmm.
because they had, first of all, you had this glut of comedians and celebrities doing voices
Hmm.
because of that success. But at the same time, you also had, uh, because of Return of Jafar, the success of that, you then had a decade of nothing but animated sequels based on stuff they'd already made.
Right.
So it brought a lot that, it brought a lot of stuff. It gave them some unhealthy ideas.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're now back into that. We're now back into the
And
remakes
and
sequel
it'll
business.
it'll phase out again, and
Yeah,
then it'll come back again, and that's just kind of the Disney cycle, I
yeah.
think. But I think that about wraps it up
All
here
right.
for us. You can find all of our stuff on iTunes, and the Podbaydoors podcast.wordpress.com has all of our back episodes. Give us a subscribe and a 5-star review and a like and all of that kind of stuff, we would greatly appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter at pod_bay, and you can throw a tip into our virtual tip jar at Patreon at the same handle at pod_bay. We thank you very much for joining us, and the pod bay doors are now closed.
The mission has been completed.